We're so glad you're here. Thank you for remembering that. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Like Lindsay said, I know this is a busy week for a lot of you. Either you started school, you're getting ready to start school, you're continuing to be in school. So thank you for being here. And if you haven't yet, say hi to us in the chat and let us know where you're coming from and maybe when you started school or if you still have yet to do so. Today, we're going to talk about increasing student engagement with interactive EdTech. All right. And you can switch the slide. My name is Janie Everett. I'm the Educational Technology Manager at WHRO Public Media. My email is up on the screen in case you need anything. Before WHRO, I was an elementary teacher and an instructional technology specialist. And now I mainly do professional development and other educational events for the station. And with me, I have Lindsey Horner.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. As you can see here, I am the eMediaVA manager at WHRO Public Media. So I work with Janie at the station and do professional development, but most of my PD work is related to eMediaVA, which is a free digital media content library. We're going to spend just a few minutes talking about it today because it is a great interactive EdTech tool that you can use for student engagement. But then most of our time will be spent on resources that you get to choose. So, and before joining the team, I taught high school social studies in Newport News Public Schools.
All right, so we mentioned that we are coming to you from WHRO. WHRO is located in Norfolk, across the street from Old Dominion University, and we are the local PBS and NPR affiliate. And we have a really big education department because we're actually owned by 21 school divisions. The ones that you see in yellow on the screen are all ownership divisions of us. We were created by school divisions and still owned by them to this day. So we have a lot of really great educational resources, one of them being professional development, which we're doing right now, another eMediaVA, which we're going to talk about in today's session. But we also have some other great resources like educational vans that we take out on visits and student competitions that we host. So you can check out WHRO.org for more information on all of those things. We are going to share our slides with you today, and we have a lot of links in them and a lot of great resources. So we'll share those with you at the end. I'm sure Lindsey will also email them out as well, probably tomorrow after this session is over. Excuse me. Feel free to ask questions as we go along. I don't believe that you have the capability to unmute yourself, but we will keep an eye on the chat. So if you have any questions, just throw them in there and one of us will be keeping an eye out so we can answer all of your questions. And we love to do trainings. We do them all the time. So if you find today's session interesting and you would like us to come to your division or your school or your team, reach out to us and we can come do free training sessions for you and your staff members. And of course, reach out to us anytime, even after our session ends today. We'd be more than willing to answer your questions and help you out.
Okay. So to get us started, we want to know which Renaissance baby you are today. We always joke it wouldn't be a teacher training if we didn't have an icebreaker. So on the next slide, we're going to have a rating 1 through 9, and this is completely anonymous, so no one's going to know who you are. So we want to know which Renaissance baby you are today. So we'll give you a minute to look this over. We use Slido, and to do the free version, you cannot put the image on the actual question slide. So again, we need you to memorize your number, and then we'll go over to Slido. So I'll give you just a few more seconds to look it over, and then we will log into Slido on the next slide. Okay, or we can drop them in the chat. That works too. So here you can see the poll. So you can either scan the QR code if you're using your cell phone, or if you're on a device, you can go to slido.com and enter that code. So feel free to drop your answer in the chat. But we are going to be using Slido for you to choose which tech tools you want to explore today. So it is helpful to go ahead and log into the Slido now. So we already have it up. So again, go ahead and log in to Slido if you would. So then, of course, you can have a say in which tools we look at today. But so far we have a 3, a 7, and a 2. So we'll go back and see which one is the most popular and look at it. Okay, so we have a lot of 4s, and then everyone else is dabbled. So let's go back and look at 4. Okay. This is always a classic. Like, I don't ever know what number 4 means. So thanks for playing with us, and feel free to steal this and use it with your students. I taught world history, so this would be a fun activity, a do now, exit ticket activity to do with my students, but it could really be anything that you adopt across contents or grade levels. There is a Tumblr blog that updates weekly with pictures of a funny Renaissance baby. So it could even be a routine thing that you run through throughout the year, which could be kind of fun. Okay, so big concepts for our time together today. We're going to quickly talk about 3 ideas, just 3 tips for using tech to facilitate student engagement. We will take some time to look over eMediaVA. As I mentioned, we're not going to spend a ton of time. I'll just briefly show you the homepage, talk about some different types of resources we have, and then I'll hand it over to Janie, and she's going to walk through some of the different tech tools that you can use to really emphasize student choice, to engage students, and to build collaboration. And as we've mentioned a couple times, you're actually going to get a say in which tech tools you would like to explore today. Okay, so facilitating student engagement using EdTech. So you can see 3 strategies you can apply ASAP. So again, these are just three quick tips. And the first is about agentic engagement. So the more students have a say in learning activities and the choice of tech, the more engagement and achievement increase. And we know this. That's why choice boards have become so popular. If you're not familiar with those, I've included a link here, but giving students choice in how they show you what they've learned and to prove what they've learned is great. We can use different technologies when we do that. So some students might want a podcast, might want to do a quick video. Some might just like to do writing. So tech has really opened up those doors to allow our students to engage and show what they know in a lot of different fun ways. Relevance and comfort level. So this is one too, that your comfort level with tech and also our students' comfort level with a tech tool matters. So we want to make sure that we're taking time, especially if we're introducing a new tool, to make sure that we have time to give our students plenty of opportunities to engage with it. I think we've all been there where you're like, oh, this is an easy tool. I'll just use it with my students tomorrow. And it takes forever and it just throws your lesson off. So always a good idea to really make sure you have time in your lesson for this. And again, I think we all know too, our students are online constantly. They know so much about digital tools, but a lot of those basics, sometimes they really struggle with. And then finally, make it collaborative. So as much as we can using tech, and without tech, allowing our students to interact and engage with each other online and in person. And this is what's great too about anonymous tools, where sometimes our students might not feel comfortable speaking up in class or offering comments on other students' work. Anonymous tools like Slido, and there's plenty of anonymous tools out there, can really work to allow all of our voices, all of our students to speak up in class. And this is just a screenshot from one of the studies, which if you're kind of a research nerd like me, we have the study linked at the end of the slide deck. Okay, so we'll spend a few minutes looking around at eMediaVA, and if you're not sure what eMediaVA is, it is a free digital media content library for Virginia students and teachers. So we have over 12,000 free multimedia resources for you to use with your students. And as we said in the intro, we all know that digital media, whether it be social media, video, interactives, online labs, VR 360, AR, can be a great way to engage our students. So if you're looking for more ways to engage them, using resources from us can also be a great way to engage students. So you can stream videos, use interactive resources. You can create your own collections in eMediaVA and then share those with fellow teammates, students, parents, or guardians if they're asking for resources at home. And what's really unique about eMediaVA, obviously there are so many places to get media from these days, but we are curated specifically to Virginia. Everything is tagged to Virginia, searchable by Virginia standards, and we really work hard to make sure all of the new standards as they're constantly being rolled out are updated in our system. And then finally, whatever LMS you use, it's going to be really easy to use eMediaVA with that learning management system to share resources with your students. And as I should mention, most of our resources come from PBS. So it's trusted, it's safe, it's vetted. And a lot of our resources, I would say most, also have support materials, discussion questions, activity ideas, teacher guides that make it much easier to use in the classroom. So if you're not sure about eMediaVA, and I see some new names too, where I've just recently created accounts for you, so it's great to see you. Most divisions, if you use a single sign-on like Clever or ClassLink, we're going to be in those portals for you. Some divisions use a unique online tool we call an LDAP to log in. And for a lot of schools, we also just manually create an account. So if you're not sure and you're interested in having one, you can reach out to me and I'm happy to create an account for you. So we'll go to the site and I will show you around the homepage. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to type them in the chat. So here we have the homepage and you can see here, I'm not signed in, but this is where you would come to sign in and it will prompt you to search for your school. So even if you're not sure you have an account, you could always check because it might surprise you to see that you already do and it will tell you how to log in. So you can search by keyword. You can see here different ways to sort. You can search by standard, by grade level, by type. So we have video, we have VR, podcast. Interactives will be things like labs, simulations, primary source activities. Collections, images, documents will be things like lesson plans and handouts. And then there's lots of good things here under other. So you can search by language. If you know that a video has to have captions, if that's really important for the students in your room, you can click that and it will really only pull the videos that are relevant to that search. So at the top of our site, we always have curated collections, and these change out based on what's new, what's happening. So obviously, it being back to school time, we have back to school resources for early learners. Raising Readers is a great phonics resource using PBS Kids material. Environmental science. So if any of you teach science, this is brand new. This just launched. You might have gotten an email if you get the eMediaVA emails about this. So this was a course created by WHRO that we have made available completely free in eMediaVA. So you can see there are animations here, Virginia stories, invasive species, landslides, video about Rachel Carson. I mean, this is just a ton. There's a ton of great things here. So that would be great to check out. And then some here that are created by our station. So math learning resources, VAUS, economics and personal finance, earth science, VAUS history. So you're probably seeing some very specific courses that we teach in Virginia. So those always stay linked on our homepage, these ones at the back end, so you can always find them. News and events. So we always post things that are new and upcoming, and then featured resources are just going to be individual resources that you can explore. Wordsville is a brand new resource, an interactive lesson here for social studies, real life math. So this is a whole series on different jobs that you can do with math resources, with math skills, I should say. And then finally on the homepage, what's trending. So it's always kind of fun to see what everyone is teaching, what everyone's looking into. So the most popular resource is a Magic School Bus episode. We have the full Magic School Bus suite. Didn't mean to click on that. And then the final thing I will point out is this contact form at the bottom. It comes directly to my email. So if you have any questions at all, if you're interested in training, we do free trainings just on eMediaVA, because I know this was quick. Please reach out to me. We can come to your school for free. We can do it virtual and really dive in more to actually how to use our multimedia content library to really engage your students. So just a few more things to show, and then I will hand it over to Janie. Just some things that's what's new. So we already saw from Wordsville, Let's Learn. This is a new series that has young learners. They're learning about words through this mystery with this young guy who's going to lead them through mysteries to find the word. So this is from PBS NewsHour, and obviously teaching about the election can be really difficult. But one of my favorite uses for eMediaVA when I was in the classroom was current events. So this is from PBS NewsHour. It's a look at the life and career of Kamala Harris. It's going to be objective. There's going to be some for other candidates for Trump as well. But just always, I like to point out that if you're doing current events or want to incorporate those, look in eMediaVA. Work It Out Wombats is new from PBS Kids. I always like to point out that math learning resources we've gone through and curated collections for every SOL strand for math, K through Algebra 1. So it's a lot. But if you teach math, then that's going to be a great resource. And then tons of interactive lessons from social studies and science, and these are brand new. I should also say these images you see are hyperlinked. We're not going to go through. We don't have time to explore all of them, but if you're interested, everything we're showing you today is already linked for you in the slide deck. So again, if you have any questions about eMediaVA, feel free to reach out, but I will go ahead and turn it over to Janie with some other types of tech tools you can use. Janie, did you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share. A sec here. Okay. Hopefully, while Lindsey was talking, none of you saw me try to drink my drink with the straw cap still on. It's been a long week, and I'm not even the one returning to school, so I'm sure you're all even more fried than I am right now. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some of my favorite tech tools to increase engagement. We're going to have some AI tools, some familiar ones, lots of really good stuff. All the tools that I show you today are going to be free, or at the very least have a free version. And they all work really well with your learning management system, whether it be any of these on the screen, or even if you don't use a learning management system or an LMS, you can use them independently as well. Okay, so here is how this works. I'm actually going to let you choose which tools we focus on today. So first I'm going to show you about 6 or 7 slides with your options. So as I'm going through these slides very, very quickly, take note of what you think you might want to focus on for the rest of the session, because like Lindsey mentioned earlier, we're going to have another Slido question asking you to vote on the 2 tools that you really want to see today. We're definitely not going to get to all of them, probably 2, maybe 3, and we'll leave a little time at the end for questions on all of these tools as well as eMediaVA. So your first option is going to be ChatGPT, which I think we're probably all getting really familiar with at this point. When I started doing this presentation, this was very, very new stuff, and a lot of people were choosing it. I think we've moved on to bigger and better AI tools, but I still like to keep this as an option. It's a great AI chatbot that can create all sorts of things for you, like lesson plans, etc. And by the way, we mentioned earlier that we're sharing all of our slides with you. All of these photos are linked out to websites and resources, including these little YouTube symbols in the top right corner. Those lead to tutorials on YouTube that other educators have created. So if there's a resource we don't actually get to today that you are really interested in, you can always go back to these slides and check out those tutorials. Your second option to choose from is going to be Mural. I am a very big Google fan, and I was a very, very big Jamboard fan. And Jamboard is essentially a Google Suite tool that is a free virtual whiteboard. It's a little underwhelming, but at the same time overwhelming because there are so many options. And in case you're unaware, Jamboard is going away very, very soon. So I don't like to share that tool with you all anymore because of that. So I've been on the search for other whiteboard tools, other virtual whiteboard tools, and the one I've chosen to share with you is Mural. So it's just that it gives you a blank space to work on. You can share your space with your students, so you can all be in there together, working collaboratively from different devices, or you can send it to them and have them make copies of it so they have their own whiteboard. And one of the great things about Mural is that it has a lot of templates, like the one you see on the screen. I did not create that. That's one I found in there that was really easy to throw together and use. I will say I still don't love this as much as Jamboard, but you know, I'm in the hunt for that perfect whiteboard tool, and this is a pretty good one in the meantime. Another option is Adobe Firefly. This is a website that generates AI images for you based on whatever you tell the website that you want. So you go into their little prompt space and you type in, I want to see this, and this, and it will generate an image for you based on that. So on the screen, these are two images that I have created in Adobe Firefly myself. You can get some more realistic images like the one you see on the left, or more graphic images like the one on the right. And I've been using this quite a bit for my presentations lately. It's a really good tool, and I think kiddos have a fun time with this one as well. All right. Our next option is Edpuzzle. And I always like to offer Edpuzzle, especially when I'm working with Lindsey and talking about eMediaVA. It is a classic tool, but it's a really good one. If you're unaware, Edpuzzle is a site that lets you search for videos or upload videos that you already have on your device. And it lets you create stopping points in those videos so that you can ask students comprehension questions halfway through. An Edpuzzle will require the kiddos to answer those questions before they're allowed to move on. They're not allowed to scrub through the video, and as the teacher, you have the ability to check out their answers and see their progress, see how long it took them to get through the video, etc. All right, Blooket. Blooket is a gamification site, and it is connected to Quizlet. So if you've ever used Quizlet before, there are sets in Quizlet, which are basically flashcard sets, right? But they're virtual. In Blooket, you can take those flashcard sets, Blooket will turn them into a game, but not just one game. There's a whole bunch of different games in Blooket for you to choose from. It's a really great site, super fun. And if you don't use Quizlet, that's okay too. You can create your own questions and answers right in Blooket if that is your preference. I do that sometimes as well. But it is nice that it connects to Quizlet so that you can go in and find sets that other teachers have created and look them over and then use them with your kiddos. It's a good one. All right. MagicSchool, definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite on the list. And this is a little more of an advanced AI tool from just ChatGPT. MagicSchool is a website that has a big list of all sorts of AI tools for you to use. But the best part is that it was curated just for teachers. So this website has no other purpose than to help teachers do what they need to do. There's a lesson plan generator, a rubric generator, an IEP writer, a teacher joke generator. I mean, gosh, probably like 50 different AI tools Some of my absolute favorites come from here. I find myself in this website every week, even though I'm not in a classroom anymore. I'm in a virtual adult classroom like this. One of my favorite features that you can see on the screen is that you can tell it to write a song about a topic that you're teaching in the classroom, and you can give it the tune of the song you want. So I said I needed a song about text features to the tune of Jingle Bells, and it created that for me within seconds. This is a really, really powerful tool. Another one, School AI. So I really love Magic School. That was probably my first teacher AI tool that I was introduced to. And then recently, School AI came into my site, and I really latched onto this one as well. Excuse me. So it's very similar to Magic School in that it gives you a big list of AI tools to choose from. The difference is that School AI has something called spaces, and these spaces are basically chatbots for your students to use. Um, so you can kind of tell this chatbot ahead of time what you want it to talk about with your students. So if you're working on American Revolution in your classroom, you can tell School AI, make sure this chat is about American Revolution, talk a lot about George Washington, ask students questions about important battle locations, and keep the conversation based around American Revolution. And you could be more detailed than that if you want to. So then you give your kiddos a link, simple as that, and they have this chatbot, and they talk back and forth with the chatbot. If they get off course at all, School AI kind of rounds them back in by asking them more American Revolution questions. And the best part is that as the teacher, you can go in and see all the conversations that your kiddos are having with the School AI chatbot. So it's not just completely random. You have total control over what they're doing. You can stop the chat or pause it. It's saved in School AI. You can screenshot it, whatever you need to do to get more information about your kids. And I just wanted to let you know, I usually include Flipgrid or Flip in these sessions because I love it so much. But in case you didn't know, Flipgrid is going away. Microsoft is doing away with it. So just want to let you know in case you have any great content in Flip that you need to get out before it kicks the bucket this year. All right. So on our next slide, we're going to see our voting tool, Slido again. So if you're still in the Slido from earlier, great. If not, you can use your phone to scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go to slido.com and enter the code that you see on the screen. I want you to choose two of these tech tools to focus on today. And this will take you a minute or so. So while you're doing that, while you're voting, I do want to mention, I do have a lot of AI tools on my list. And AI is really, really exciting, and there's a lot of great things we can do with it. For the most part, all of the AI tools that I may or may not show you today are for teachers to use. These aren't necessarily ones that our kids are going to have a lot of engagement with, maybe the chat feature in School AI, but you know, and every school division is going to have a different policy at this point with AI. So I know there are some of you who are going to have these things blocked, some of you who have them open, but have certain policies about using them. You know, I understand all that. So my I guess warning, for lack of a better word, is just make sure before you use these things with students, if that's your plan, that you're certain about what your district's policy is moving forward for the current school year. But like I said, whether or not we're using these with students, they're actually really great tools just for us to use to make our lives easier. So I'll give you maybe like 20 more seconds here in case anyone's still trying to get their vote in. And then I'll, oh man, someone's got to break that tiebreaker. Someone did. Okay. I'm going to take a picture. That's why you see my phone, because I always forget. I always forget which ones were voted. All right, so I'm going to do Magic School and Blooket. And then maybe we'll do Firefly or Ed Puzzle if we have some time. But we'll definitely make sure that we get to those top two options in our session here today. Thank you for voting. As you know, it's always great to let our students have some choice in what or how they get to learn each day. So I really try to practice that in my PD sessions as well. And I actually, nope, no eMediaVA collections, not yet. I'm going to do Blooket first, actually, because I find when we go into Magic School, we tend to get lost in all of the really great tools within it. So I'm going to do Blooket first. That one has a more definite endpoint, and then we'll head over to Magic School after that one. Okay. All right. So let's go to Blooket by going to blooket.com. Let me get logged in. I always do a Google login. Of course, you can create a username and password if that's easier for you. All right. Here we go. And I apologize if you ever see me fumbling around the screen a little bit. I'm trying to move all of the like chats and stuff out of the way. Okay. So here we are. So like I said, Blooket is a gamification site where you can take all of your study sets, put them in here, create really great games for your students. And if you've worked with Quizlet before, if you have a bunch of sets saved in Quizlet, that's great, because you can import them right into here, so you don't have to create anything from scratch if you don't want to. But you certainly can if you would like to. So I have a few sets here that we're going to do. Any of these resources collect user data? I'm sure some of them do. So again, that's something that you're going to have to discuss with your division and look into the fine print. Typically, your instructional technology specialist is the one who looks into all of the fine print on these websites before they are able to be used in your school division. I was an ITS for Virginia Beach Public Schools, and that was specifically my job to come into the fine print of Blooket and see if it's something we were going to use with our kiddos or not. So talk to your tech person about that. All right. So I have a bunch of sets here that we're going to take a look at, but if you are coming in here to create from scratch, you would click on create. You can do a cover image if you would like to, title, description, and then here are your options. You can create one manually. Here's your import from Quizlet, or if you have questions and answers on a spreadsheet, you can do them here as well. We'll say manual, because I want to type in my questions, answers. There we go. Chat was in the way. Where's the title? Title. And then very similar to other, quiz or game websites, you add your questions, choose the right answer. You can add images, set a time limit, randomize the order, typing, open-ended, multiple choice, all that good stuff. You can also go to over on the left side of your screen if you want to look for games or sets that have already been created by other educators, because you're not really interested in creating your own or you don't have time. We can go to discover. Someone made one on common root words, lab safety, United States capitals. I guarantee if it's a topic you teach in school, you can probably search for it here, cells, and find something on it. And the great part about these is that if you find one that's really good, but not great, you can still edit that and make it your own before you use it with your kiddos. But let's go to one of my sets that I already have created. We'll do let's see. Should we do WHRO trivia or should we do fractions? What do we think? Any preferences before I pick one? Someone said fractions. That's why I saw first. Okay. So here we go. We're going to host a fractions game. And here are all of the different games I can choose from. So no matter what I choose, my questions about fractions that I created are going to be in the game. This is just the type of game that I want my kiddos to play. So we'll do Fishing Frenzy. That's one that I like a lot. My goodness. Trying to move all these windows out of the way. All right. So you do have a player limit, which is 60, but hopefully none of you have more than 60 kids in your classroom. Hopefully. All right, let's do time. So you can do like first person to so many points, or you can just set a timer. I'm going to do time and we'll set it for not 12. No, 2 minutes. We'll show the instructions. We'll allow people to join late. We will use random names and we'll allow student counts if we want to. All right, I'm all ready. I'm going to do host now. You probably hear some music coming out from my end. So now I want you all to join the game so that you can see what this looks like from our kiddos' point of view. So again, if you've got a cell phone, you can scan the QR code in the top corner. I'm going to turn that off while I'm talking. Or you can go to play.blooket.com and enter the code. And I see some people joining us already. I'll give you about 30 seconds to join. If it takes you a little longer than that, that's okay. You can still join us after the game starts. And then we will start our 2-minute game. Ooh, intense names. Fire wielder. Dune flower. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start, but if you're still joining, that's okay. You'll be able to join after we start, and I'll turn the music back on while we're playing, okay? So you're going to have to answer my fraction questions, and then if you look at my screen, you can see what it looks like from the teacher point of view, where I can see all of your scores coming in. I'll add, there's only 6 questions, so you're probably going to have some repeats. Sorry. Timer's on. You should see questions popping up on your end. I see Fire Wielder has some points. So does Winterblade, Sea Gem, Sea Tamer, Light Catcher. One minute left. You have 1 minute. 30 seconds left. Fire Wielder is in the lead at the moment. Fire Wielder knows their third grade fractions. 10 seconds. All right, time is up. Let's see what we've got. All right, we've got Fire Wielder in first, Frog Bow in second, and Light Catcher in third. And I'm going to view the report now. And remember, I chose to have the faux names. You could use your students' names, of course, so you can see which of your kiddos needs some support in fractions, which of the kids are doing well. You probably had a lot of repeat questions because I only threw 6 in there. Since it's just an example quiz, you could have as many questions as you want to so that you don't have those repeats. Or you could have set the time shorter, or, you know, done it however you wanted to. All right. So I hope you found something valuable in Blooket. This is one of my favorite game sites. My favorite thing is that you have all of the different game style options. Fishing Frenzy was just one of them. And at this point, we're going to move on over to Magic School. But remember, we'll leave a little bit of time in the end for questions in case you have any. Okay. All right. Magic School. Magic School AI. Don't tell Magic School that I'm wearing a School AI shirt. It's a different company. Okay. Here we are. Again, I'm going to log in with my Google, but you can log in however you see fit. All right, here we are. So as I mentioned earlier, Magic School is a website that has a big list of AI tools for you to choose from. I'm going to scroll down a little bit just so you can see the magnitude of this website and exactly how much is on here for you to choose from. I mean, we saw, you know, what we would expect at the top, like lesson plan generators, etc., but all sorts of stuff. Make it relevant. So make what you're teaching relevant to the real world. Accommodation suggestions for our kids with IEPs who need accommodations and modifications. So give us some ideas for that. If you're a coach or a PE teacher, 504 plan generator. And of course, I know you know this, but don't put any confidential student information into Magic School or any AI site, only your trusted websites that your division tells you to put information into. Gosh, tongue twisters, PD planners, text scaffolding, all sorts of great stuff. So I'm going to show you my favorite tool in Magic School, and then I'll open up the chat for suggestions for us to check out some others as well. But my personal favorite is the YouTube video question generator. So let's see. Someone in the chat, please give me a topic that you teach in school that you might want to find a YouTube video for to give your students. What topic might you search in YouTube to find a good media resource for your kiddos? Perfect. Digital citizenship is the first one I saw. So in a different tab, I'm just heading over to YouTube, typing in digital citizenship. All right. Let's do this GPB resource on digital citizenship.
We've got to streamline these ideas. We need Grammarly.
I've got your back.
Here we go.
Commenting, DMing, posting, recording. They're always
Great. So we're going to pretend I watched this whole 4-minute, 40-second video. It's great. I'm going to use it with my students. It's appropriate. I vetted it. Wonderful. I'm going to come up into the browser bar and do a Command C. I'm going to copy it, go back over to my Magic School tab, and I'm going to paste that URL.
Also,
Right.
we have that series, that video on eMediaVA, just FYI. That's a public media station.
Perfect. So let's see, that was Kayla. What grade level would you be teaching digital citizenship strategies to? And while I'm waiting, yes, these resources can be used in an out-of-school environment. You do not have to be a teacher to be able to get onto these websites. Anyone can get onto them. So if you teach homeschool, if you're a tutor, you're free to go onto these sites and use these tools as well, for sure. Any K8. So we'll say 5th grade. We'll leave it at multiple choice and we'll ask it for 5 questions. I've filled everything out. So now let me click generate. All right. So within seconds, Magic School gives me a whole list of questions that correlate to that specific YouTube video we just pulled up. What does a digital footprint refer to? Which of the following is not a good practice for protecting your identity online, etc. And then at the bottom, we have the answer key. And not only that, but also the point, the timestamp in the YouTube video where that answer can be found. So, as you're going back through the video and checking to make sure that these questions are all, you know, correct, all the answers are correct and appropriate, gives you a specific spot to look at in the video. And like I said, Magic School is more of a tool that you're going to use as a teacher. It's not really one that you're going to send your kiddos to answer these questions. So once you have these questions, you're just going to go ahead and copy them. There's a copy button right here at the bottom. And you're going to use those questions in whatever medium you use with your kiddos. Maybe you'll throw them into a quizzes. Maybe you'll put them into a quiz in Canvas. Wherever you're assessing your students, that's where you would throw those questions. And if you don't like those questions, you can always come down here and, tell it, give me more, or translate this to Spanish, or, different lengths, whatever it is that you need. So I'm going to go back to our list of Magic School tools. Now that I have showed you my absolute favorite, are there any tools, before we open it up for general questions, are there any tools in here that caught your eye that you want me to click on and explore? And I'll admit, even I have not gone through all of these tools because there's so many. You saw how many of them there are. And they're adding more and more and more every week. Every time I come in, there are new options. Lesson plan, perfect. All right, let's click on lesson plan and see what we get. All right, the topic. Tiffany, is there any specific topic you want to see a lesson plan on? Ooh, perfect. I taught this in 5th grade. Matter. Solids, liquids, and gases. 1S or 2? I don't know. Anyway, they'll get the point. Additional criteria. So this is where you type details like, I want a 30-minute lesson where we read a book at the beginning. There should be a hands-on experiment. The end should have a informative assessment. And you could put as much detail in there as you want. For now, I'm going to leave it at that. Standards, I'm not going to go dig out the standards from the VDOE site right now, but of course I have it as a bookmark, I would just go grab that 5th grade standard for matter, copy and paste it right into here, and then generate. See what we get. And again, within seconds, we are getting a whole lesson plan broken into sections. We've got an objective. We have some key points, an opening, an intro to new material, guided practice, independent practice, a closing, an extension for our kiddos who need it, a homework suggestion, and the standards that it covered. Of course, it's giving us some Common Core here, but if we put in our SOLs, then those would be listed there. And yeah, that's that. So of course, I would read through this whole thing in detail, and I would make sure it's appropriate for my kiddos. I would go in and do some modifying, to make sure it's really going to meet the needs of my students that I have in my classroom this year. But it's a really great place to start. You need something for solids, liquids, gases, and you've never taught this before. Here's a great jumping point to get the ideas flowing for you, right? All right. So we have about 9 minutes left until we're going to totally shut her down. So I'm going to go back to our slides really quick so we can give you these last couple of slides, and then we'll leave a few minutes open at the end for questions about any of these resources, eMediaVA, etc. Lindsey, do you want to jump in and explain your collections?
Sure. So we just pulled a few different collections. The ones at the top are more elementary focused. The ones on the bottom are more secondary focused. It's by no means an exhaustive list of our collections, but we find that collections are a good entryway into eMediaVA. It gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the different types of resources we have in our content library. So we have linked those there for you. So you can see the math learning that I've talked about. We have wonderful SEL resources. Our station creates hundreds of interactives that follow the SOLs for high school courses that are tested, and those are linked there for you. So thank you so much for joining. I hope this was beneficial and you found a tool that you would like to use this year with your students. That QR code is a link to this slide deck. So as we've mentioned, everything we've talked about today is linked there for you, and Janie's just making sure everyone can have access to it. So again, if you would like the slides right now, you can scan that QR code, but I will email the link to everyone who registered for the webinar tomorrow. So you'll get it either way. But again, thank you so much for joining. And Janie and I have a few other webinars coming up that we'll announce soon. So we hope that you'll join us again next month.
Yes, and I just threw the link to our slides in the chat as well. That's going to force you to make a copy. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and stop the recording. Lindsey, I think you have